So about a week ago, I DNF'd a book, and something about me, I don't always DNF books because I just, you gotta write it out, I gotta get through it, I told myself I'm gonna do this, even if I despise the book, but I DNF'd the book, and it was for potentially one of the pettiest reasons I've ever done anything in my entire life, and it gave me an idea. So I asked my Instagram story what the pettiest reasons they've all DNF'd their books for, and we've got a lot, so I'm gonna go through them because some of them are so funny, and that's what this video is about, pettiest reasons you've ever DNF'd a book before. Right off the bat. She called the male protagonist a sexy beast. I would too. I would too. That is disgusting. Why would you do that? A sexy beast? A sexy beast. I bet you any money it wasn't even fantasy. I bet you it was just, Tim from Finance in like a cheesy little rom-com. Sexy beast. DNF. They just never get a grip. Like, actually get a grip and stop. Is it ever that deep? Honestly, like, I agree. Genuinely, get a grip. Stand up! No, because the amount of times I've chucked a book across the room because the protagonist or just any of the characters are being so dense, so absolutely thick. Like, it is so simple. The solution and the answer and the way to go about this is so unbelievably simple. Get a grip and stand up before I close the book forever. So this is very real. I think everyone is gonna know what book this is about. Dory, yes, the fish, was mentioned numerous times. I added the numerous times in just for my own emphasis, but yeah, that should have been when I stopped the book, but I didn't. I read all the way. I read until she was emailing Ellen DeGeneres to tell her that having manure rubbed against her body turned her on. I should have DNF'd the book. The cover had a man on it. So fair. So fair. I don't need to elaborate on that. You're so real for that. If it's a published fanfic and it's a little too obvious, Raylo. You know what? Each to their own, but fair enough. I love this. This is from my friend. She said, a male said he loved the book I was reading, so I stopped reading it. Are we seeing a common denominator here? I think that we are. But so fair. Written by an ethnic person, but they used white names and plots for the story. The fact that you were even able to start that book, let alone DNF it, is truly admirable, and I respect it so much, because if I'm reading a book with someone who has a similar name to my great-grandmother, and they're talking about, I wake up in the morning and I put my long, straight, thin blonde hair into a messy bun and my mother calls down to me, Sandy, your boyfriend's here to pick you up. Have fun on your date. First of all, if a man ever turned up at my house, especially in evening times for a date, that is not what my mother would be calling up at me. Those are not the words that I would be hearing. And I'm not going to tell you the words that I would be hearing because my non-ethnic viewers might consider it problematic. Someone who reads Colleen Hoover read the book. Yeah, reading Colleen Hoover unironically and without the sole purpose of criticizing her. Yeah. If someone I hate loved the book, yeah, me too. Honestly, yeah. You don't need to apologize for being petty. I'm the same. If someone I despise is recommending this book, I'm never buying it. In fact, if I have it, I'm probably giving it away to charity. I'm not reading it. Sorry. The girl is too childish in the name of sunshine. Sorry, I'm bitter and you're annoying. Fair enough. You can be sunshine by being sweet and happy and, woo. You can't be sunshine by being like, oh my god, do you ever notice how the leaves just whoosh silently? Don't you think? Fuck off. If a man has a beard, I'm sorry, it's an ick. No, I can't relate to that. I love a beard. I can't relate to that. I support and respect your opinion, but I disagree. When a man has a beard, it does it for me in a book. In fact, I might stick around if I was planning on DNFing it. We don't agree on this one. Tiny print, same. Same. That is why I genuinely have been trying to read Legendborn for the last 3 years, because I'm not DNFing it. I'm still going to read it because I know I'm going to love that book. I know I'm going to adore it. I know it's an incredible book, but the print is so small. The print is tiny, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to either buy the hardback version of it because the print will be bigger, or just have to succumb to reading an ebook. I hate reading ebooks. It's not for me. I like holding a book and annotating it, but I'm going to have to do it because I really want to read the book, but the font is just, it's too small and it looks like too many words on the page and it stresses me out. And so when I'm in a bookshop and it's a book I don't know about and I open it and the text is too small, I don't care what you've told me about this book. I'm going to have to find an alternative way to read it, or I'm not going to read it because it gives me a headache. Too much smut with no reason and sense. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. There is nothing wrong with smut in a book. There is nothing wrong with a book being spicy, and there is nothing wrong with a book being written for the sake of being spicy. But if it remix, but if it is a book that has a completely separate plot line where the smut isn't relevant and the spice isn't necessary, but you just keep giving me sex scene after sex scene after sex scene after sex scene, I am not reading it. It is too much, especially because some of these books, like the sex scenes, start on page 100. I don't even remember the character's name. I barely know what they look like. I don't care about them yet, and you're just giving me straight up smut on a page. I don't want to read it. It's not for me. Each to their own. Everyone enjoys what they enjoy. I am a character-driven and a plot-driven reader. If there is smut, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to appreciate it. But if the plot of the book is smut, I'm not going to enjoy it, especially because a lot of the times that I have encountered this, I haven't enjoyed the way that the smut has been written, and it's been written in very male gaze styles. I don't like that. I don't like that. If I wanted to experience, sexual conversations through a male gaze, I would stand outside of a boys' locker room. I didn't need to be a part of that, but that is also my opinion. Final cherry on the top. I saved it for last because it's so funny and it's by my friend. Straight people. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, I want to tell you guys some of the petty reasons that I've DNF'd books. There's only going to be about 2 or 3 reasons because I very rarely DNF a book. Okay, the first reason is actually the first time I DNF'd a book, and it was because the book was advertised to me as a wholly female-centered book. It was just women, it was powerful women, it was queer women, women were doing everything. The book was about women. So tell me why I spent like the first 100 pages reading about this group of really whiny and annoying men on a boat. Like, if they were just like normal men, it'd be fine. Obviously, like, it's relevant to the plot, but they were so whiny, and all they did was complain and like just whine, like womp womp. Get a grip. It's a fantasy book. If you have a problem, kill the problem. Kill the problem. Get rid of it. Then you're done. Issue sorted. Why are you here? Like, deal with your problems quickly so I can get to the women. Please. Another reason I DNF'd the book was, who's that author of Normal People, that one? She didn't use quotation marks. I didn't like it, so I stopped reading it. I just watched the show. I didn't like it. Why are you not using quotation marks? I have 2 English degrees. That really annoyed me, even if I didn't have English degrees. How am I supposed to know if you're thinking or just speaking? He said? No thanks. Show me that he said it. Thank you. Now, this isn't necessarily a petty reason to DNF a book, but I just got bored. I was just bored. I have this rule when reading of like a cut-off point of when to know whether or not I'm going to be bored with the book. If it's a regular like contemporary book or a romance book, if by page 70 I'm still not interested, it's probably not going to be a good read for me. And if it's a fantasy book, if by page 100 to 150 I'm still not interested, it's probably not going to be a good read for me. The reason this excuse is petty is because I was on page 50. I was on page 50 of a fantasy book, and I knew I had to be patient, but I was so unbelievably bored. I was so bored. And I just put it down and I never picked it up again. I don't even know if it's here. I think I gave it away. I think I literally got rid of it because I never wanted to look at it again. My final reason for DNFing a book, and I will gladly tell you which one it is. No, I didn't DNF the book, I DNF'd the series. I read the entire first book, and it's Daughter of the Pirate King. Never even going to consider reading the sequel. It is one of the worst books I've ever read in my entire life. And the reason I decided never to read it again is because I hated the main character. This book made me hate women. It made me hate women, like genuinely. Okay. Maybe I took it too far. Maybe I've taken it a step too far. It made me hate a woman because she was just so unbelievably, unbearably pick-me. It was so painful. It was like you'd listen to the inner workings of her mind and she'd be like, she could destroy all 6 of these men if she wanted to. She could just jump out and, break her shackles and murder them all. And then it goes to reality and she's like, please let me go. The shackles are hurting my wrists. And then it was a case of like, she wasn't into all the frill, she wasn't into all the this and that and the other, and then like you get the opportunity and you're like, oh my god, pretty dresses! Like, just choose. There's nothing wrong with liking dresses. I love dresses. I love dressing like a girl. I love being a girl. I don't love it when you pretend not to, but you do. Please stop. Genuinely, I have so much to say about that book, and I'll do it in a separate video, but I DNFed that series because it was just so terrible. The female protagonist was written by someone who clearly just hates women. The female protagonist was written by someone who hates women, because there's no way you love women and you write a woman like that. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching.